neonatal kid mortality in goat kids and recommended intervention. Goat is adapted to different agroclimatic zone like the tropical, subtropical, and arid zone, and it is most widely found livestock species. As far the population is concerned, India possesses 148 million goats that contributes around 27.8% of total livestock population. If we compare the goat population compared to the previous livestock census, goat population in India increased by 10%. Goat contribute 3.36% to the total milk production and the 15.5% to the total milk production in India. Goat contribute more than 52% of the household total income toward the nutritional and food security to the family who are mainly involved in the goat rearing. Simultaneously, goat rearing is a source of income to the 40% of rural people who are living below the poverty line, mainly the landless farmer. As far the neonatal kid mortality is involved, neonatal kid mortality is defined as the live born that died up to the 30 days after the birth. It's in the farm condition. It also include the stillbirth. As we are knowing that the goat production system in India is slowly moving from the traditional low input technology to the high input intensive commercial production system. One of the most important limiting factor for this intensive commercial goat production system is the high mortality rate of kid that affect the productivity, rotability, and the animal welfare too. Neonatal mortality is associated either with the animal factor or the environment factor. In the animal factor, both the dam and kids are considered. As for the environmental factor is concerned, it is related to the poor climatic and hygiene condition and the kid management in the farm. If we see the incidence of kid mortality in India, it is in the range of 33, 32%, and 16% for the different category of the goat units. Incidence of kid mortality also varies with the season. Highest kid mortality observed during the winter season and least in the case of summer season. Kid mortality, if we see the kid mortality effect of different age group, it is more in the case of age group having age below the 1 month of age. It is around 42%. For the kid up to 2 months, it is 37%, and the kids up to 3 months of age, it is 23%. Half of the total mortality that is reported occurred during the second week of age. Out of the total pre-weaning mortality, 64.4% is during the neonatal period. As for the vulnerability of kids is concerned, 50% of pre-warning mortality occur on the day of the kid born. If we see the economic losses due to the kid mortality, first goat contribute to the farmer economically by two ways. First, by giving the offspring at every breeding season, and second, by selling of surplus male. If there is a kid mortality, it's lead to the two type of losses. Losses due to the new kids crop and losses due to the male that can be sold and that help in the generation revenue. As per one estimate, the annual losses due to the adult mortality is around 2,016 rupees per farm and the 271 rupees per animal. And in case of kid, it is 578 rupees per farm and 77 rupees per kid. If we consider adult goat also, then the losses are two types. Losses due to life in the case of kid and losses due to production in the case of adult. Kid mortality alone causes an estimated loss of 1.7 million per annum, while the adult mortality contributes to the 12.01 million per annum as per the Indian records. As for the biological factor involved in the kid mortality, different production systems have a different percentage of kid mortality. When kids are housed inside, like a conventional housing system, then the death due to the infectious disease is more. However, in the case of in-house housing system, death due to traumatic injury is less. When we see in the outdoor production system, mortality due to starvation, hypothermia, and predation is more. One research, this is the finding of my PG research, the incidence of the kid mortality were more in the kids who were housed under the intensive housing system compared to the loose housing system. Broadly, we can categorize the different factors that are involved in the kid mortality under major two categories. Non-infectious causes, infectious causes. Under the infectious causes, there are the different managemental factors like the hypothermia, underweight of the doe, non-vaccination of the doe, and the poor hygienic condition of the set are involved for the kid mortality. As far the nutritional factor is concerned, nutrition of doe during the last stage of pregnancy and delay and underfeeding of colostrum of the kids involved. There are the different infectious agents are involved in the kid mortality that we will discuss in detail with their preventive measures in the coming slides. So what are the different steps where we can work to prevent the kid mortality? It starts well before the arrival of kid. It is start before the breeding of at the time of breeding of kid, at the time of breeding of doe, during the gestation period, and after the birth of the kid. So we will discuss the preventive measure under the different subheadings. First, we will discuss what are the different breeding things that we should be done to prevent the kid mortality. At the time of selection of the doe having the bad udder or having other problem should not be used for the breeding purpose. Mother having poor mothering ability, low milk production, and difficult in kidding. If she has a history like that, then she should be culled and not used for the taking the kid for the future crop. At the time of selection of the doe, most important thing is given to the BCS condition of the mother. And according to the depending upon the BCS condition of the mother, flashing can be done. The standard BCS for the pregnant doe should be 7 or below. And for the at the last stage of pregnancy, and the ideal BCS at the time of getting should be in the range of 5 to 7. If mother have a poor udder conformation, then she prevent the kids from suckling that lead to the kid mortality. So it is very important to see the udder conformation during the selection as a selection criteria for selecting the female. As we have discussed, we should do the flushing depending upon the BCS condition of the animal. Flushing is nothing, giving extra concentrate to the female future mother 2 or 3 week before using the for breeding purpose. Along with improving the body weight of mother, flushing also help in increasing the kidding rate. Flushing also brings the different doe into heat simultaneously that lead to for uniform kid crop in the farm that make the management very easy. For flushing, supplementation of 250 gram of concentrate or 500 gram of leguminous, good quality of leguminous hay can be done per head per doe. Along with the udder conformation, the age is also important criteria for the selection of the future mother. Normally, at the age of 10 to 12 month, mother is selected for the breeding purpose. It is not only the age, it is the body weight that should be given a due consideration. So the female is used for mating only when she reaches to the 70% of the adult body size. If we select a mother too early, result into the birth of 2 weak kids that are prone to the mortality. Those who produces heavier kid have a better survival rate. That suggests there is a potential of genetic improvement through the selection in maternal line. Mother body development or mother weight is also important. That is related with the quantity and quality of milk and colostrum production. Along with that, undernutrition of mother lead to the poor maternal recognition and poor bond formation with the mother and kid. That is the important factor for the kid survivability that we will discuss in the coming slides. As far the housing is concerned, always keep advanced pregnant mother separately, individually in the kidding pen. For that, mother should be bring to the kidding pen 2 weeks before the kidding. That pen is provided with a manger for feed and a bucket for the water facility. The floor of kidding pen should be non-slippery, provided with a sufficient bedding material, mainly in the case of cold season, to prevent the hypothermic loss in the case of kid. Kidding set should be maintained, make clean and dry, disinfected well before the bringing the advanced pregnant mother to the shed to prevent the transfer of infectious disease to the young one and mother from the environment. One important problem, that is pregnancy toxemia, occur in the advanced pregnant animal. It is one type of metabolic disease, mainly occur in the female in the later stage of gestation, and it is mainly found in the female having a multiple young one in her uterus. What actually happened that is responsible for the pregnancy toxemia? Because in the later stage of the pregnancy, maximum development of young one occur. At the same time, there is less space in the rumen to hold the same amount of feed. So mother is under the negative energy balance, but he compensate the nutrition requirement of the body by converting its body reserve, leads to release of ketone body in the blood. Mother at the later stage of the pregnancy who is suffering from the pregnancy toxemia have a loss of appetite, not wanting to move up and around. And in the case of pregnancy toxemia, maximum losses of kid occur because of lack of appropriate care by mother after the kidding. So the different preventive measures like the regular exercise of mother and important consideration for the nutrition of advanced pregnant animal is important to prevent this pregnancy toxemia in the later stages of gestation. So recommended ration for the advanced pregnant animal is that she should be allotted good quality pasture for 4 to 5 hours per day. Along with that, she should be supplemented with a concentrate mixture at the rate of 250 to 350 gram per day. Simultaneously, 5 to 7 kg of available green fodder. If at the time mother is supplemented with high calcium-rich leguminous matter, that should be replaced with the grasses to prevent the milk fever during the lactation period. Mother ration also supplement with the minerals and vitamins. Now, the kidding time approaches as kidding time approaches on the day of kidding, it is better to slowly reduce the grain allowance of the mother. It is better not to feed or give very light ration on the day of feeding, but plenty of water to the mother. Immediately after the kidding, it is better to provide a warm drink water and little molasses sugar to provide the instant source of energy to the young one. Be sure the doe is eating and drinking properly, absorb the doe mothering ability. After the kidding, the ration of mother is improved or increased slowly. It is better to include bulky and laxative feed immediately after the kidding in the ration of the mother. Some complications that occur after the kidding. Most important thing that we should take care the mother after the kidding, that we should confine the mother until the after birth, that is placenta completely discharges, because in some cases it is observed that the mother will consume it. Udder edema, in which the udder become enlarged and hard. In that condition, milk have a normal consistency. To take care of udder edema, we should milk the animal or doe several times in a day to relieve this condition. Look here, normal bloody discharge that coming up to 2 weeks after the kidding. It is a not problem until it is not smelling bad. But when discharge become mixture of pus and blood and foul smelling, then it could be the case of metritis and that should be treated accordingly. Next important problem that occur after the kidding in the mother is the mortality. That is characterized by the heat, painful swelling of the udder. In that, the consistency of milk is almost is altered. Maintenance of cleanliness in the kidding pen is the most important preventive measure for the mastitis. After the kidding, the growth of the kid mainly depend upon the ration that is given to the lactating mother. At the lactation time, mother should be given at the rate of 4 to 5% of body weight. These we have a 3 recommendation. Any one can be used for feeding to the lactating mother. It is better to stop or reduce the amount of feed 60 days after the lactation. And it is very important to give a rest period or dry off the animal during the last 2 months of pregnancy to support the growth of kid and replenish the losses that occur during the lactation period or to prevent the metabolic disease after the after the kidding for future generation. Other health management practices that we should do in the case of advanced pregnant animal, all the goats should be vaccinated against the major disease like the enterotoxemia, tetanus, and colibacillosis. By vaccinating the pregnant doe with this important disease, help in the transfer of passive immunity to the kid via the colostrum. Area where the internal parasite is problem, we can deworm the mother 2 or 3 weeks before the kidding. However, most of the goat keeper were aware of need of supplementation, vaccination, and deworming. But as per one report, only the 12 to 17% of goat keeper in North India vaccinate their pregnant doe. Hardly any goat keeper were unaware of need of deworming. Because of all these reasons, there is a heavy kid losses and loss in the productivity in the future generation. Now we are moving our discussion after the care and management of doe. What should be the different care and management after the arrival of kids should be done to prevent the kid mortality? First 48 hours most critical period for the life of the kids. Immediately after the birth of kid, clean the mouth, nose, and throat of the kid to remove the mucus. For that, we can use a cotton rug also. If kids is feeling lifeless in that condition, we should hold the kid's hand leg with the head downward. This help in clearing and start help in the starting the respiration in the kids. If everything goes normal, within an hour, kids start standing and walking. After that, allow doe to lick her kids. That is very much important for development of kids mother bonding. Within the 30 minutes after the birth, kids should get its first colostrum for maximum absorption of hemoglobin. If kid is unable to suck themselves in that condition, kids should be grasped by the hand and pressed into the mouth of kid. Weighing of kid on the birth and once weekly to monitor its growth should be done. Naval cord management, most important first intervention that is recommended is the dipping and spraying of umbilical cord with the 5 to 7% tincture iodine solution to prevent the entry of deadly germ into the body of the kids. For the best method of applying this tincture iodine is used to treat deep cup and in which we should immerse the navel cord completely covering all the surface. In the farm in which there is a problem of joint in and navel in, it is better to apply it 3 times at a 6-hour interval. If navel cord is too long, it is recommended to cut it 8 to 10 centimeter in length before applying of tincture iodine. Cleanliness, that is the most important to prevent the infection of umbilicus and that promote the easing, healing up and drying up. If we not maintain the proper cleanliness in the kidding set, then one important problem occur in the case of kid is the navel ill, or also known as ampulitis. It is inflammation of umbilicus and associated structure. As we know, umbilical cord act as a passageway for transfer of nutrient from placenta to the kid. It still remain open for the some time after the birth of the kid. As umbilicus are exposed during the birth, it easily get contaminated by the soil, which contains a lot of microbes, causes inflammation of umbilicus, and in severe cases, peritonitis, septicemia, and death also. Kids who were housed in a soil floor under overcrowded condition, under an unhygienic manner, all these factors prevent the drying and healing of umbilicus and lead to suppurative infection and finally the umbilical infection occur. In the acute cases, we should do the parental administration of broad spectrum antibiotic because the multiple bacteria are involved in this. As far the management is concerned, as we have discussed, proper maintenance of hygienic condition and timely administration of colostrum is important to prevent the problem of navel in farm condition. Importance of colostrum feeding for the kid. As we know, colostrum is the first thick yellow milk produced by the mother. It is rich in the maternal antibody, vitamins, minerals, and fat. Colostrum should be given at the rate of 100 ml per kg body weight of weight. If extra is given, lead to the diarrhea. Feeding of colostrum becomes most important in the cold weather to prevent the mortality due to hypothermia because it acts as instant source of energy. During the after this first after the kidding, first 6 to 12 after of the kidding, the concentration of immunoglobulin in the colostrum drop very sharply, and maximum absorption capacity of intestine for the antibody persists only for the 6 hour and almost nil after the 24 hour. So feeding of colostrum as early as possible is most important factor for the survivability of the kids. As we know, the placenta of ruminant is epitheliochorial type, and there is no transfer of immunity via the placenta. So kids are born hypoimmunoglobulin, and they are depend upon the immunoglobulin that is transferred from mother via colostrum. That is the passive immunity. So the time of first colostrum feeding after the birth is a critical factor because the absorption of hemoglobin by the colostrum reduced later on because of changing in the permeability of intestine, that is not known as gut closure. As far the rearing of orphan kids is concerned, and also the doe which are not able to produce the sufficient amount of colostrum and the milk, we can try other doe milk or the cow milk works also very good. If we have a facility that some other doe are producing extra colostrum, we can freeze it and depending upon the requirement, we can throw in a warm water bath. It is always given a kept in the mind that only this amount that is required to feed that amount should only be thawed. Again, thawing and refreezing should not be done. It affects the quality of colostrum. If we have a facility, we can go for the cross fostering with the female having good mothering ability. For giving the artificial or the milk of other mother to the kid, we can use bottle feeding, pen feeding, or bucket nurser, whatever available, whatever the suit to the our farm conditions. As for the feeding of kid is concerned, as we have discussed, immediately after the birth, kid should be given the colostrum, and kid should be allowed to remain with the mother up to the 3 days of life, so that it get frequent access to receive the milk. After the 3 day, weaning is practiced, and feeding of um, milk feeding frequency should be reduced 2 to 3 times, as it is mentioned in the table. As kid reaches at the age of 2 weeks, a small quantity of quality green lush pasture should be introduced. At that time, they are not consuming the sufficient amount, only nibbling it, but it stimulates the early human development. At the same time, we should start giving the kid its first concentrate mixture, that is crib feed. What is the objective of giving the crib feed to the kids? As we know that after the 4 week, the milk production of doe reduces. And so the milk supply of them is alone is not sufficient to sustain the high growth rate of kid. So the concentrate feeding has been recommended with the objective to encourage the early consumption of solid feed by the kids, provide the supplementary nutrient for rapid growth, and the promote early weaning. Normally, 50 to 100 gram of creep ration is given per kid per day. Concentrate mixture that creep ration should contain DCP in the range of 20-24%, TDN 70%. This creep feeding should be introduced at the age of 15 days and should be continued up to the 2 to 3 months of age. This is the basic vaccination schedule of the goat. Exact time of first vaccination may be slightly changes depending upon the location and regional condition. But the main objective is to start first vaccination as early as possible and followed by the booster dose. So the kids develop full-fledged immunity to prevent itself or to develop the immunity against the numerous infectious diseases. Now, from here, we will start discussing the important infectious diseases that are involved in the kid mortality and their preventive measures. Among that, first and most important is the coli bacillosis. It is acute and peracute disease affecting the goats, causes diarrhea, dehydration, and the loss of young one. This disease is caused by bacteria Escherichia coli. The majority of the Escherichia coli is normally inhabitant of intestine and harmless, but some are pathogenic. These bacteria mainly affect the kids during the first 2 week of life, and this disease have a high mortality and morbidity rate. The mortality rate with colibacillosis is increases with increase in litter size. Disease is mostly found in the first priority because mother with a history of poor milk laid down because that mother failed to provide passive immunity via the colostrum. Passive transfer immunity play important role for the outcome of disease. The incidence of the disease get reduced as kid advances because of development of active immunity in the kids, and there is change in the type of the epithelium of the intestine that will prevent the attachment of that particular bacteria to the intestinal wall. Transmission of this colibacillosis occur by the fecal oral route. Goats suffering from the diseases shed the bacteria. So this is a mainly problem in the goat that are housed under the intensive and semi-intensive housing system. For the prevention of this disease, as we have discussed, most important, this disease mainly occur because of failure of transfer of passive immunity via the colostrum. So timely intake of colostrum within the first 2 to 4 hours after birth is most important to prevent the infection of E. coli. Because this immunity that is provided by the colostrum help to neutralize the toxin and inhibit the colonization of E. coli in the gut. And the second thing that we can do for prevention of this is the vaccination auto at the advanced stage of pregnancy. For the colibacillosis prevention, pregnant doe were vaccinated in the 2 days, 40 to 50 days and 15 to 20 days before the pasteurization. And the most important, as we have already discussed, the maintenance of sanitation is most important for prevention of this disease. Next important disease that is responsible for the kid mortality is endotoxemia. It is caused by the Clostridium perfringens type C and D. As far the kid mortality is concerned, it is mainly caused by the Clostridium perfringens type D infection. Clostridium perfringens type D bacteria is normal inhabitant present in the intestine and it is harmless. But under the certain condition like the stress, overconsumption of milk, sudden change in the ration of the kids result into the proliferation of this bacteria, release of the epsilon toxin. That toxin is absorbed in the system and leads to the different type of vascular damage. Because of this disease occurred due to the overconsumption of milk by the kid, it is also known as overeating disease. These diseases lead to the damage of different visceral organ, mostly brain and the kidney. This disease is also known as pulpy kidney disease. The predisposing factor that is responsible for ectotoxemia is the intensive housing of the kid. Because of limited activity, there is a chance of that kid consuming more and more milk. And simultaneously, increased amount of concentrate of mother leads to the more production of the milk and leads to the enterotoxemia. For prevention of this enterotoxemia, we should do the controlled feeding of kid 3 times in a day. Or better, we should do the vaccination of them in the advanced stage of pregnancy. As far the housing management is concerned, if possible, provide adequate space for the movement and avoid the confinement rearing of the kids. And always change the ration, whether it is kid or in the case of doe, gradually. Sudden change will make a conducive environment for the proliferation of this bacteria, and that is responsible for the kid mortality. Tetanus is one of the infectious disease also responsible for the kid mortality. It is caused by the bacteria Clostridium tetani. This bacteria is just a spore-forming bacteria and the spore present in the soil and the dust. Bacteria enter into the body via the wound that is developed because of different managemental procedure like the castration, dehorning, and tail docking, also through the umbilicus. Once enters into the wound under the anaerobic condition, this bacteria proliferate and release the toxin that is titanospasmin that is transferred via the nerve. This toxin blocked inhibited neurotransmitter. The affected kids show the erected condition of limbs and tail. So hyperexcitability, lockjaw condition are the sign and symptom that kid is affected by the tetanus. As for the treatment and prevention is concerned, I'm not going in the detail of the treatment section. As far the prevention is concerned, vaccination of the doe against the tetanus 3 to 4 weeks before the pregnancy is most important. And the kid who are born from the mother in which vaccination is not done, tetanus antiserum is given immediately after the birth for giving the temporary immunity. Always follow the hygienic surgical procedure for doing the different farm management practices. And most important is the umbilical care. Immediately after the birth, umbilicals should be disinfected with the tincture iodine to prevent the occurrence of nevaline and the tetanus, as we have discussed earlier. Coccidia is one of the important parasitic protozoal disease in the goat kid caused by the Emeria species. It leads to diarrhea, dehydration, and death. The disease is spread by ingestion of oocysts via the contaminated feed and water. Different factors like the stress, poor hygienic condition, overcrowding are the contributing factor for the coccidiosis in the goat kid. By applying a simple animal husbandry practices like regular removing of the fishes from the animal house, if possible, flatter floor is preferred, avoid the feeding from the ground, regular cleaning of the feeder and water, supply of the clean water. At the same time, ensure that the watering system do not leaking because it make the increase the moisture percentage in the set that help in the proliferation of cyst. Always try to allow the sufficient sunlight will enter into the animal set. The separate the kid from the old animal and isolate the affected animal. These are the some preventive measures that can be used at the farm level to prevent the losses in kid because of coccidiosis. Along with the different health management tips that we have discussed till now, kid can also be supplemented with the selenium or vitamin E to prevent the white muscle disease. It is mainly important in the kid who are born from the selenium deficient goat. If the dam is not vaccinated for the enterotoxemia and tetanus during the last stage of pregnancy, it is better to vaccinate the kid for the first time at the 4 week of age under the Indian farm condition and booster dose after 21 to 28 days to provide the full immunity to the kid against this important infectious disease in the case of kids. Now here we start discussing what are the different non-infectious agents that are involved in the Kidmortality. One of the important factors is the predator attack. Predator attack is also quite contributing factor for the Kidmortality, mainly in the village located near the forest. Because of extreme deforestation, natural habitat of most of wild animals get disturbed, leads to the encroachment of this wild animal to the human settlement. As kids are small, vulnerable, they get targeted by these wild animals. Every year, numerous cases of predator attack are responsible for the kid mortality in the village area bordering the forest area. Another category of the predator attack that is responsible for the kid mortality that is very localized to a particular region of India is that the crow attacking the anus region of the kid. Later on that get wounded, affected the maggot, infestation, and finally lead to the death. So what are the different management practices that should be done to prevent the predator attack? Most important is the secure housing. Prepare a predator-proof housing for the kid, ideally by using the concrete or metal mesh. Ensure that the night enclosure should be well packed without any small gap for the stray dog also. Proper fencing is important. If possible, electrical fencing should be done. Surveillance is most important. For that, person should be deployed at the time of grazing, or we can use different type of guard animal like the dog and donkey. Group management always try to keep the kids with the mother, never left them alone. And there should be adequate lighting arrangement in and around the goat shed. As for the crow attack to the kid is concerned, regular cleaning of the anus region of the kid is important, and regular monitoring during the first week of life is important to prevent the crow activity. It is better to keep kids indoor under the shaded area for first few weeks of life to prevent the crow attack. Now we are starting now going to start another important thing, that is the mother-kid bonding. That is very important factor for the survivability of kid. This figure depict that the development of mother-kid bonding during the sensitive period. That sensitive period include few hours prepartum and sometime after the postpartum. The prepartum success depends if mother select a appropriate place of the birth, that about the predation, disturbance, and misidentification of kid. That will be preceded both the postpartum success and development of strong mother-kid bonding. During the prepartum period, if mother showing the isolation-seeking behavior and select a natural place of birth, that will help into the expression of maternal behavior, that help into the giving the birth in a calm places, easing suckling of the young one, and help into development of important bond between the mother and the kids. The development of mother-kid bonding during this sensitive period, as I have discussed before the partum and the after partum, is most important for the survivability of. What happened immediately after the kidding, as we have seen, both are very much attracted with the smell of amniotic fluid that is present over the body of kid and around and over the ground level. Models so intense grooming and leaking behavior. This intense grooming and leaking behavior help in establishment of olfactory memory in the mother for her newborn. This leaking and grooming behavior have a two purpose. First, as we know, that it help in the drying of the kids, and second, help in the development of strong mother-kid bonding. Few hours following this leaking and grooming behavior, mothers saw numerous low-pitched bleating as well as acceptance of the newborn at the udder. Any factor that stop or interrupt this maternal care, maternal selectivity, and mutual recognition have a detrimental effect on the kid's survivability in the future. So what are the different factors that are responsible for weak bonding during that sensitive period? If maternal leaking or grooming is interrupted because of any internal and external stimuli, that will hamper the development of bonding. As for the external stimuli is concerned, human interference, human handling during the pregnancy have a negative effect on the placenta development, fetal survival, and the post-birth maternal behavior display. As far the animal factor is concerned, mother who are little experienced, mainly in the case of primary parents animal, will show temporary delay in the maternal care that will lead to the weak bonding. In comparison to the multiparous animal, primary parents those are more likely to display inappropriate maternal care. Normally, in the case of multiple birth, when tune is born, second-born neonates always receive less licking from its mother and result into the weak bonding between the mother and kid. That is important factor that affect the survivability of kid. Along with the said factor, birth complication like difficult birth and too long expulsion period causes the dam. In such condition, they fail to exhibit maternal behavior because of stress and pain that will hamper too for the development of mother-kid bonding. Simultaneously, mother nutrition, when mother is under nutrition during the pregnancy or at the initial stage of lactation, that is not able to develop complete mother-kid bonding. So what are the different management strategies that we should try to improve this mother-kid bonding, which is important factor for the kid survivability? Provide the proper nutrition during the pregnancy that will prevent the difficulty during the birth and help in improvement in the mother-kid bonding. We should facilitate the natural selection of birthplace by the mother that will promote mother to express its maternal behavior. Feeding of colostrum as soon as possible will facilitate the early absorption of immunoglobulin and also help into the development of mother-kid bonding. Therefore, it is advised to feed the colostrum within the 30 minutes after the birth. Provision of individual maternity pen. Keep the doe undisturbed from the other female will help to create a specific bond with the kid, which will increase the survivability rate of kid. And human assistance is required only in the case of difficult birth condition. Human interference in that condition bring the dog close to the newborn and help in licking and grooming and help in the development of the bond. As we have discussed earlier also, there's a season have effect on the survival rate of kid, and survivability is better in the case of summer season. We have noticed under the Indian condition that during the winter season, kids have a maximum mortality because of hypothermia. So, depending upon the season, we have to do different management strategy. We should apply different management strategy to prevent the kid mortality. First important management strategy during the kid to prevent the kid mortality in winter season. As we know, the thermoregulatory system of kid is not developed. So they are not able to maintain their body's temperature. So provision of adequate shelter is most important management strategy to prevent the mortality of kid in the winter season. Along with that, along with provision of dry flooring and bedding material, help to maintain the adequate body temperature. Along with that, protective clothing can be used, prevent the losses of heat. Heat lamp can be installed. Hypothermia, which is a major cause of neonatal loss. To take care of this, feeding, housing, and hydration is most important. For that, we should increase the quantity of milk and frequency of feeding to the kid. That help to maintain the energy level. Simultaneously, we should try to keep the kids indoor. Along with that, we should maintain the adequate ventilation level. If there is a shady tree around the animal houses or dog houses, trim the branches so that sunlight can enter into the animal shed. We should monitor the hypothermal sign, and the ideal temperature should be maintained in the range of 13 to 29 degrees Celsius for the kid below 1 month. So it is better to install a thermometer that can be used as the guide whether we need supplementation or not. This diagram showing the importance of winter center on the performance of kid. We have a three category of the kids. One is an open house, second is the group in the nest boxes, and one is the polythene cover. As we know that the pneumonia and hypothermia is the major cause of death of kid. It is almost nil in the case of group house in the nest boxes and polythene cover. When we see the incidence of pneumonia, it is around 41%, incidence of hypothermia around 16% in the case of group housed in open housing system. So it is most important that the proper cylinder management should be done to prevent the losses in the kid during the winter season. Now, the kid management during the rainy season. Maintenance of dry condition of animal houses with the help of straw and animal mattresses is most important. Because of waterlogging and dampness, there is increased concentration of ammonia in the animal shed that result into the different eye problem and respiratory problem. With increase in the moisture level, also increase the incidence of diarrhea, pneumonia, and the coccidia. Always try not to lose the kids during the rainy season outside. Well before the start of rainy season, check that roof is not leaking. Farmers should ensure that the feed should be free from mold infestation to prevent any digestive disorder. Kids should be provided with the heat if temperature goes below. Kid above the 3 month of age should be dewormed and should be vaccinated against the important infectious disease of that particular region before the start of rainy season. Summer management of kid. The best practices to reduce his stress in the kid, we should apply such practices that will enhance the heat dissipation process in the kids, like the said evaporative cooling in the form of either mist or spray. It is better to improve the ventilation in the animal shed. Unhygienic condition in the kids shed. Dirty bedding material invite a different type of skin problem, lungs problem, and food problem in kids during the summer season. Therefore, the kids shed should be kept clean as far as possible. As we know that in summer, because of heat stress, diarrhea occur that finally lead to dehydration. So always keep a constant supply cool, clean water fortified with the electrolytes. Birth weight also have a significant effect on the kid mortality. As the birth weight increases, the mortality percentage of kid reduce. Kid having the birth weight less than 1 kg are more prone to the mortality. As far the birth weight is concerned, kid having a higher birth rate have a better survival because low birth weight leads to poor udder seeking behavior and thermoregulatory ability in the kids. Birth weight of kid is influenced by the type of birth, whether it is single, multiple birth, season of birth. Season of birth, it is more in case of spring compared to season, compared to winter, and the age of the mother. As the age of mother advances up to the 4 years, birth weight of kids increases. Then what are the different recommendations that we can use for the kids having a low birth weight? For that, the development organization and different local extension officer should prepare a weight monitoring chart for different time interval specific to the breed and particular region. What goatkeepers will do, goatkeeper regularly weigh their kids and compare with the standard chart. If they found that the weight is less compared to the standard one, they will give a special care in the term of feeding and health care to the kids, or better to cull that particular animal. Such initiative help to prevent the kid mortality and also encourage the goatkeeper to focus on the productive improvement that help to improve the income of the farmer also. Along with what, along with that, whatever we have discussed till now, other management practices we should follow in the farm in general to prevent the occurrence of disease. Like we should always avoid the overcrowding, mainly in the case of kid shed, separating the sick animal from the healthy animal. Always allow to suckle the mother only after the washing of udder. If space permits, we should categorize the kids depending upon the age group for the kid in different age group. Following proper quarantine measure for a newly purchased animal. Always try to do rotational grazing and avoid grazing during the morning and during morning and late evening time. Proper disposal of dead animal and always follow the recommended vaccination and deworming control that we have discussed earlier. So here I can conclude what are the different good management practices that should we follow in order to prevent the kid mortality. Most important and first is the selection of doe at the appropriate age and birth to produce the healthy kids. Maintaining the balanced ration throughout the pregnancy and mainly during the later stage of pregnancy is the important factor for good quality, for getting good quality of kid. Sanitation and the hygienic measures of the farm of at the kidding pen is also important. Vaccination of the pregnant animal at the advanced stage of pregnancy is most important. That will help in the transmission of passive immunity to the kid via the colostrum. Different proper care of kid immediately after the birth, like the care of umbilical cord, early and adequate feeding of colostrum are important measures to prevent the kid mortality. Next to that, strong and exclusive bonding, that is most important factor that we have discussed, should be given having an advantage in the term of survivability of the kid. We should do the season-wise management to prevent the kidlet mortality. Goat farmer, who are the most important stakeholder, and their participation and education is the most important to minimize the losses in the field condition. For that, efforts should be done to educate the farmer on the various aspects of scientific goat management. For that, farmers should be exposed hand-on training, and they should be bring for the different visit so to see the different scientific management practices by their own. Here are the references.